Hi, this is Rich, and I'm going to tell you what a deep dive psychic dual scan is and how it relates to Akashic record reading, past life readings, and entity removal. All right? You ready? All right. It's called psychic because me and my associate, Katana, do psychic work at helping people release their entity issues. All right. And I'm going to tell you one. You want to hear one about a fucking squid, octopus, energy sucking, shape shifting girlfriend? Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to tell you about that one. And here's how it works. Uh, so, Gantana and I offer these sessions to people with entity issues, and we do other kinds of work too. But if they have an entity issue, we go, okay, all right. So they're on Zoom with us, and we just, it's easy, it's comfortable, it's relaxing, and hey, we're just hanging out. Tell me about your entity issue, and so they'll tell us about the issue, or they might tell us about an issue they have, but they're not sure if it's an entity or it's past life stuff or a spell or a hex or a curse or not sure what it is, entity, directed energy weapon stuff. Anyway, the conversation goes, and sometimes the client will know it's definitely an entity thing. All right, so tell me about it. Client chit chats it up a little bit. Well, when did it first start? They tell us when sometimes it's early childhood, sometimes it was just a couple of years ago, sometimes it was right after I met that girl or met that guy, or right after I broke up with that guy or that girl. But yeah. So well, I'm talking to the client. Katana's just sitting there. She doesn't sit there like this, no. But she's like, she's seeing stuff. Man, does she see stuff? And it's crystal clear. And it's like, that's her skill. She's a medicine woman, American Indian, speaks in light language, does all this stuff, reads Akashic Records, all this neat shit. Okay, so anyway, the client sort of defines what's going on, and they might define it as the physiological issue, and part of the body is hurts or is all messed up or something like that. Okay, all right. So as I'm talking to the client, Katana's starting to see the entity. Okay. And then as I talk to the client, oftentimes they will start being able to express what the entity looks like or feels like or something like that. And the way we go after it, so that's step one. Step two is like, okay, I said, Katana, did you want to share your thoughts or what you're seeing? And she starts talking about what she sees. And it can be mind blowing, like, from my perspective. It's like, holy shit, I couldn't, I kind of got an idea of what's going on here. I got my empath skills and clairsentient stuff, but I don't have the visuals like Katana does. I see stuff, but not like that. I'm like, whoa. So then she asks the client if it's okay to look into the client's Akashic record. Okay. All right. And the client says, yeah. Okay. So now she can see books, libraries, different people, different things. But this is the book. Lays it out there, and it's got the soul contract agreements in it. It's got, the story, the curse, the whole thing. So as Katana tunes into that, she's literally reading either what's happening in the now, in other realms, like in the higher planes or in the astral or something, what's going on now, but also she is reading the past life. Okay. If she doesn't just see the past life, and she'll see the past life thing, But while she's also got the Akashic record open, this stuff will start coming to her, and she will start seeing these connections. And then once we get that seen, then either Katana or I or both of us together will start doing the work with the client or for the client. And sometimes we do it together with the client, and sometimes I'll work with Katana together to get rid of the entity or the past life trauma. So different ways it goes, right? Okay, so the one I'm going to share with you was the girlfriend, old girlfriend of some years ago, still seems to be in the client's space. Not physically, but, and maybe even physically. But long story short, that thing wasn't really a human. It was a octopus squid entity in human form. Yeah. And that sounds kind of weird to some people, but that's not unusual. Entities being human is not unusual. And so Katana was able to see its true form, and the client was seeing it too. Okay, so the next part of that, part of the session was getting that entity out of the client's space. Okay, and the thing was like sucking the energy out of the client, right? I know, right? So we got rid of that one. But actually, I got my story backwards. There was another one earlier in the session. And long story short, giant serpent, python, anaconda, big snake freaking thing. And it's nesting within the client's field. And it feels like, it's in the pelvic area. Anyway, that was a creepy fucking thing too. And, it had children, little snaky things. So we cleared all of this out one way and another. You can literally, once you spot it, you can psychically, start drawing it out. But we normally use diplomatic strategies. We talk to the entity, whether it's a snake or an octopus, squid-looking. We go at the diplomatic approach first and try to find out what its issues are and how can we help it to get it out of the client's space. Okay, that usually works, but sometimes no, and you have to resort to other techniques, force, threats, different kinds of things. But we're able to communicate with the entity, and for the snake, for example, and it's the serpent sort of thing, and its little ones, we were able to, without a fight, able to reason with the entity and remove the little snakes, and then the big snake entity phenomena, right? And it's incorporeal, non-physical, right? I was able to slowly pull it out of the client's energy field. And so these are two different things. first half of the session was the snaky thing. Got that out of there. And the client literally was in outer space, literally, was eyes closed. Says, wow, I'm just out here and wow, it's nice. You can see, look around and stuff. So we took a little mini break, and then we picked up on the second one. That was actually the squid octopus, sort of. Kind of a human-looking thing with squiddy octopus hands, and it was feeding off the injury wound area where the snake was. Kind of, it's just disgusting shit in that way, but Katana's pulling this thing out nice and slow, and once again, the client just felt a great relief. Two of these big things in the client space. So I just thought I'd share that with you so you have an understanding of, well, what is a deep dive psychic dual scan anyway? All right. So that's one kind that we do. Being able to see exactly what's going on with the client psychically. And then the part using the Akashic Records to look in at the details of what's going on. Stuff pops off the page. Okay. And then we address it interactively. We're communicating with the entity, and then either using force or reasoning and assists in certain ways, help the entity move on. We often like to create a new, better place for the entity to be than with the client. And that usually works. So we use that. And then close the book, put it away, and doing just, we'll chill out and talk about it a little bit before we end the session. All right. So the other kind of work we do is using the Akashic Record or Katana's excellent vision, and we see the client's past life traumas, and then we move into those past life traumas and we relive them and we run out the details. It's kind of a blow-by-blow, play-by-play, moment-by-moment, and we share this with the client because oftentimes the client won't actually see it, but we move this, and it relates to what the client is dealing with, and when we remove the trauma and we patch things up, and we can rewrite the record. It's like revising the story, sort of things like this. And that's how we work on the past life stuff. Sometimes it's traumas, torture, weird shit like that. Sometimes it's just a fight. Sometimes it's spell casting issues, and different things. But yeah, that's how we do it. And I wanted to share that with you to give you an idea of what we do and how we do it. All right. And if you would like a session, you could go over to richwest.net. You'll find a deep dive psychic dual scan, and you can get a session with us. But it's one of the things we do, and we're here to help those of you who have these kinds of issues. Okay. And there's actually a lot of people with these kinds of issues. You don't talk about it to too many people, right? Because they'll think you're crazy. But you can talk to us. We get it. We've heard lots and lots of different kinds of issues, stories, and the shit's real, man. Just not always physical. Okay? All right. So if you need some help, let us know. We'll help you out.